Hello fellow hunter. I'm Cowslayer's new slave Ya. I will talk on his sake since the lazy bum is unable to learn proper English. Anyways, today's video is about testing the new Accelerator bonus. For comparison, I'm taking 1 minute full burst round, without Accelerator or Dragon attack. I got to do a double slam sweep combo there to compensate the recoil. The result is 10,302 damage. No too bad. For reference, I calculated charged shell spam in a past video for 10,066 damage. True that the training pole takes higher damage than a wounded Great Jagra's head, and that is a lot of damage. Now, if you try exactly the same build, but instead you do it with pokes and charged shells, you end with 10,875 damage. Poke charging beats full bursting on the long term. This is because how elemental damage works. Deathlance here have been augmented with 2 elemental augmentations. Also includes a couple of elemental custom builds. Raw is nice, but its power is easily diminished. Pokes have very little movement values, that is the percent of the raw applied, but elemental damage is carried at full value. On sweep attacks the MV is very high and elemental is more meaningless. Elemental bad thing is that doesn't crit, but then is less affected by hit zones, and even on bad monsters the damage is okay. Unlike raw, that plums as soon the zone is bad. Here is the build I'm measuring. The main skills are Dragon Attack 6, Artillery 5 and Accelerator. I want to see how much the damage output improves over only having Artillery 5, to determine its worthiness. I used for it Namiel arms and legs pieces. The arms contains tools reutilization skill that is pretty good. Then, the bad thing is that the other pieces of armor are bad. I finally took the legs because Zora's chest is good with 2 points of artillery, and Zora's legs are kinda trash. Elemental Accelerator works this way. After doing 8 hits of elemental damage activates, and you get 60 points, 6 really, extra elemental damage. The buff lasts for 30 seconds. Then you lose it and must get it back again. As a grateful surprise, Gunlance shells count as elemental hits, because the small fire damage they deal. Sadly but expected, the Accelerator bonus don't buff those shells. So the final result is just 11,140. That is a mere 2.4% more than no skills at all. Now, I got myself another question. How it stacks against critical element? The final check is using a build with critical element, Artillery 5, Affinity 50% and Dragon 5. I really hate this build. The problem of critical element is that, well, you have to crit to make it work. For reaching just a measly 50% I had to give up 2 level 2 slots, and 3 level 3 ones. The only survivality you get are those you can sneak up on the level 4 jewels and 2 points of divine blessing. So, this is a much worse build than before because the skill cost. Let's check it out. The result weirded me out a bit. If you stop at the timer, it ended with less damage than before. I know that the reason are the freeze frames on critical hits. When an attack is big like a critical, the game freezes a bit to give a sensation of power. And that can cause scenarios like this where the end result falls out 1 split second after the charged shell hits and the final score is a bit over the Accelerator damage. But remember, that Accelerator build had no weakness exploit. So the conclusion is clear, neither is good. As an additional note, elemental critical did each poke do plus 24 damage. Compare with the plus 19 damage on charged shells going from Artillery 3 to 5. This means that there are scenarios where building for critical over Artillery 5 can outdo it. But Artillery good thing is that always is plus 19 regardless the monster resistance. You will be pressed to find these big numbers on a hunt and only by wounding. Because all not shelling damage in master rank is a 20% weaker. I demonstrated it in another video in my channel before. But after all these results, I got a next objective. To farm and try a build based on Silver Sol. As a last word, please, give me your word about what do you think of my new voiceover. If creep you up too much I will return back to the old red words.